intend attending the funeral of the father of one of our colleagues, Judge Njelele. Apparently, the father passed away during the course of last week, and he's been buried tomorrow, and he stays out at Toyando or beyond Toyando. So persons have to drive. It's about how many hours drive? It's about 6.
I think yes, it's about 6.
Yeah, I used to sit
500
in that court in Toyando donkey years back when it was still part of the TPD and the Widowed Persons Local Division. So I know that area. And sometimes they used to take us to Messina on second.
Yes.
Okay, so for that reason, then the court will adjourn at 1 p.m. Okay. Yeah, right.
Perhaps on that topic, just a reminder that Brigadier Gininda is not available tomorrow and Monday. So then resume on Tuesday next week.
Okay. On Tuesday, no?
Yes, my lord.
Okay, fine. Okay.
As it is the court, my lord.
Yes.
Now, I'm trying to decipher where I was. Thank you, my lord. Brigadier,
Yes,
you are saying this is not a uniform form that is used within the parameters of the South African police services. You say without whether some police stations are having these forms. That's what you said, that's all.
I'm saying in terms of the warning statement, my lord,
Yes.
there is no prescribed form. In other words, this is not a golden rule to say this is the only warning statement that you must use. Form, yes, I'm referring to the form itself, my lord. That is why I'm saying if you peruse dockets, and prosecutors will know that, you will find different warning statements other than this one. That's what I'm saying, my lord.
So, what you're basically saying is that there is no uniformity in the South African police services with regard to this document called Statement Regarding Interview with Suspect in terms of the nature of the form.
No, there is uniformity, my lord, insofar as the guidelines with the interview, regarding the interview, the guidelines are set. It's the same with taking a confession, it's guidelines. But when it comes to this specific form, and I'm referring to this specific form to say this is not the only one, but insofar as the guidelines that must be followed when an interview is done, you get those guidelines. Others are not just as detailed as this one in terms of what it says. It will mostly consider the issues of the constitutional rights and then straight to the explanation as to what the deponent wants to say or responds to. And maybe to assist the defense, my lord, to make it easier, when I come back next week on Tuesday, I can source those forms, bring them to court and make them available to Advocate Mnisi so that he can see that it's not me making these assertions. These are the different forms that you get in different stations. So I can embark on that exercise to assist so that we can put this matter into rest with a clear understanding.
I don't want that assistance, Brigadier. I am specifically referring to this form. Are you then saying that this form that is called SAPS 3M in bracket M, which is known as a statement regarding interview with the suspect, is not a uniform form that is being used by the South African police services when they have an interview with a statement? I'm not talking about guidelines, I'm talking form. This document that has been handed to court as Exhibit XX.
My lord, I'm answering. I'm saying there are many warning, there are different various forms marked SAP 3M to be specific, but not necessarily like this one. Others are shorter, hence I said I can embark on exercise of bringing the SAP S3M so that the defense or the court can see them.
Thank you. Let's go back a bit to our introduction. You are saying the first time we saw accused number 2 was on the 18th when we met him at Western Marion and so?
At Carltonville, my lord.
At Carltonville, yes.
Yes, that's what I said, my lord.
And where were you driving from when you met him at Carltonville?
From Gauteng, my lord. I just don't recall what we left to check with, but it was from Gauteng, my lord.
Then what necessitated you to drive to Carltonville to go meet accused number 2?
Well, my lord, I didn't go with accused number 2. I found him there.
No, I'm saying what necessitated you to drive to Carltonville to go and meet accused number 2?
All right, my apologies, I misunderstood.
Yes.
No, so it was the communication, my lord, that I received from Sergeant Mohane, as I said earlier, that they told me they were there and following other investigation, and part of, as I'm saying, my lord, that they asked him about this matter. So I wanted to deal with it directly as I was the lead investigating officer, my lord.
So for them to have said to you, when Carltonville were with accused number 2, amongst others were investigating this case, and then they took a decision to say, I am joining you there at Carltonville. Or is they, okay, can you answer?
Yes, not joining them in the investigation, my lord. I think I've explained that there were cases that they were following unrelated to this matter. My interest insofar as going there, it was in relation to accused number 2, so that I can conduct an interview with him in relation to this matter. That was my only reason that I went there, my lord.
Brigadier Gininda, why don't you wait? If the reason that you gave now is what prompted you to drive to Carlton, to Carltonville. Why could you say to them, okay, no, it's fine. When you're done there, can you please bring him to my office?
No, but why, my lord? What would be the reason of waiting? I was available, and I made a decision. Well, there was nothing that was prohibiting me from going there. I was available, and I felt I want to deal with it, because from the time he was arrested, one will have to take note, my lord, that I was informed that he was arrested on the 16th. It was already the 18th. I've not seen him, and I knew that he was a person of interest based on the statement that was already obtained in the document, my lord.
Thank you. Now, the date today. When I mean today, I mean the date on which you had an interview with accused number 2 at Carltonville is the 18th of June, 2020, not so?
Correct, my lord.
Accused number 2 again made the confession to, is it Rapado?
Yes, he made it on the 19th of June, 2020.
And when did he make the confession to Mrs. Gronje?
It was the 24th of June, 2020.
Thank you. Now, it is common cause, or it is not in dispute, let me not say it's common cause, it is not in dispute that after his arrest on the 16th of June at Pukeng, he was taken into custody, not so?
Yes, my lord, I'm aware of that.
So all these activities which happened subsequent to the 16th of June, up until the 24th of June 2020, when he appeared before Mrs. Gronje, the magistrate, for his confession, he had been always from custody, not so?
Yes, he was still under detention, my lord.
Yes. Now, when did he appear at court for the first time in this case?
So on this case, he appeared on the 27th of October 2020, my lord.
Thank you. Now from 22 June 2020, the date on which he appeared before the magistrate for the confession, for the alleged confession, to 27 October 2020. Actually, let me put it this way. Why did he not, or why was he not made to appear at court immediately after a confession was taken from Mrs. Gronje on the 24th of June 2020?
So, okay, so yeah, I'll have to explain my notes. So,
yes.
Firstly, the first court appearance, even though it's unrelated to this matter, took place on the 22nd.
I'm sorry. Brigadier, let me qualify in respect of this matter.
Yes. Okay, now I get it. All right. Now, in respect to this matter, my lord, one will remember that I've indicated that on the 23rd of June, there was an interaction where there was an attorney. Subsequent to this meeting and the discussion with the prosecution, arrangements gave rise to the confession that took place based on the discussion on the 24th. The investigation and the collaboration was not done, my lord. The fact that the confession was taken, it was not a done deal that the investigation was done. I was at that stage, my lord, as I said, the first time when I laid eyes on this confession of accused number 2, on the Narrowitz, the one that I received from Colonel Rapado, and subsequently the one of Mrs. Cronje, it was the first time where I had sights of accused 3, 4, and 5, in terms of the names, as being alleged, where they were alleging that they were part of this. So insofar as the investigations were concerned, they were not complete. They were far from over. We didn't have the murder weapon. We didn't have all number of things and the statements that the defense is aware that we've disclosed to them. So even though there were these 2 confessions, there were collaboration that needed to be done. You can't just take them on the face value. You need to collaborate and see that what this person is saying is actually the truth or not. And that applied not only in accused number 2, it was the same exercise that I backed on when we dealt with the confession of accused 1. That is why one was able to see that when he was
Brigadier.
So I'm just making
no. I'm asking about accused number 2.
Yes, but my lord, I'm taking.
Let us confine ourselves to accused number 2. I'm not talking accused number 1. I'll come to accused number 1 if necessary. But let us confine ourselves to accused number 2.
Yes, my lord. But I hear you. I try to confine myself. But what I'm saying, my lord, remember when I explained, they say it mustn't be seen as if accused 2 got a specific treatment that was different than the others. That the picture I want to say that when we go to number 2, there is nothing different.
If I want that explanation,
Mr. Mnisi,
I will ask you.
Mr. Mnisi, please.
But this witness must not.
No, but don't stop the witness from testifying.
It's based on rules.
No, the rules are as he says. It must be seen that he gave special preference to accused number 2. There are 5 accused before him. So he had to make, I don't even want to give that evidence, to make a decision concerning all the persons, according to him.
But my question is specifically confined to accused number 2. If I want to know about accused number 1, I specifically ask him.
But all 5 of them appeared one time.
But maybe the court does not understand the gist of my question. I am saying of my concern. I'm saying I'm now busy with accused number 2. Whether or not he gave a different treatment to whether he did not give that which is explaining now. For purposes of my question, it is material. I want answers in relation to accused number 2.
My lord, I'm answering, but what Advocate Mnisi needs to take note, I cannot, because then it will become unfair in terms of what I must tell this court, because it seems my answers must be confined to fit the narrative that he wants to bring forth to this court. I am answering this question that is asking me. I'm simply indicating that it was not an isolated situation. It's what I've done with accused number 1. But insofar as the question that he asked me with accused 2, I've answered it. But I'm showing objectivity when I'm mentioning the other accused to say it was not the first time. Because I'm saying this, my lord, because the impression I'm getting is as if the impression that I'm getting is being created. It's as if there was a special arrangement with accused number 2. That's all that I was getting to, my lord. And lastly, my lord, with regard to accused number 2, to this question that Advocate Mnisi is asking, I was not investigating accused 2 in isolation of the other accused. I think will assist, because it wasn't like I was sitting and saying, now I'm focusing on accused 2 only. Collectively, as the evidence was coming your way, I was investigating all of them from 1 up to 5, especially after the confession of accused 2. So it was a collective investigation.
Thank you. Now you're saying on the 23rd of June 2020, accused number 2. Actually, you put it like this, that there was an arrangement for a confession that was facilitated, or an arrangement for a confession that was made with an attorney. That accused number 2 on the 24th should go and appear before a magistrate for a confession. Is that true or correct?
No, I think maybe there might have been a misunderstanding. I'm saying, my lord, on the 23rd, so I was referring to the confession of Mrs. Cronje, to say it came as a result of the discussions that took place on the 23rd between accused and his attorney with the state. And then out of those discussions, it gave rise to the confession of the 25th and the discussions that followed. That's what I was saying.
Thank you. Now, I just want to paraphrase what you've just said now so that I'm able to follow you. You are saying on the 23rd, there was a discussion between accused number 2's attorney and himself with the prosecutors for a confession that was supposed to be, or about a confession that had to be taken on the 24th of June 2020, not so?
The discussions, my lord, because I don't want to say it incorrectly so that we don't find ourselves bumping it with Mr. Mnisi.
Yes.
The discussions was insofar, and I'm careful to go there, my lord, because I was told by the prosecution that because those discussions in terms of section of 105A were not finalized, one should not venture into that. So that's why I'm trying to put my weight as amicably and lawfully without being prejudicial to the accused, is that there were discussions that were leading to the 105. And that's how the confession of the 24th of June came into it. So it wasn't simply about the confession. There were discussions. Out of those discussions, certain things then were then put into motion by Lord.
Thank you. Now, on your own version, you're saying that there was an attorney involved. So I take it that was Mjiyakho.
Yes.
Now, on the 16th, accused number 2 get arrested by Mahane and Mabena. On the 18th, as per your version, you're meeting him at Carlton, where you had that interview with him. On the 19th, he appears before Rapadi, 19th June 2020, he appears before Rapadi for an alleged confession. On the 23rd of June, there is an attorney. There is Mr. Mjiyakho. Mr. Mjiyakho now appears at the scene or in the act. And there are those little arrangements that we have discussed about the possible plea bargaining arrangement and the confession. Now, would you recall that this time it was at the time of COVID?
Yes, I do recall. That's correct.
Thank you, madam. There's an indication from my colleague here, Mr. Ramusipili, that apparently accused number 1 wants to...
No, it's fine, no problem.
To talk to him. Try the number 2, not number 1.
Thank you, madam.
As it please the court, madam. Thank you. Now, you what Graham said, this was the time when the pandemic was at its peak, not so. And at that time, visitations, police stations, hospitals and everywhere were very restricted, not so.
That is correct, my lord.
Maybe before I proceed, on the 23rd of June, when there was this attorney, Mr. Mjiyakho, made an arrangement with the state with regard to the possible plea bargain and then subsequent confession. Were you part of the discussions?
No, my lord. No. So I was part in this sense that I'm the one who went to the police station after I received a call.
Yes.
That there was an attorney who wants to consult with accused 2. And I gave that permission, my lord, regardless of the pandemic that was in place, because it's constitutional rights to say if someone wants to consult with his legal representative. I think the Constitution, as Advocate Mnisi has said, is a supreme document of this country, so you need to adhere to that. So I allowed that permission. Now, after I got there and I was introduced to this advocate, and I've indicated the sequence of events, my lord, in my evidence in chief, to say as I walked in, accused 2 said, "This is my attorney," and then we interacted with Mr. Mjiyakho. After I verified his status, that indeed, where I asked him to identify himself, verify that indeed he was an attorney.
But Brigadier, that's the problem that I have with you. My question was very simple. Were you part of these discussions or not? Yes or no?
But my lord, I'm putting it in context.
Remember, you said the other time that you wanted me to respect you, and so on. And I'm trying the best that I can to respect you. But respect is a two-way traffic. If I ask you a simple thing, were you part of the discussions, yes or no? And then you start to give a sermon in circumstances where a sermon has not been requested for you.
My Lord,
then you come back and say, I don't respect you. Can you please adhere to the question? Were you part of the discussions or not? No.
There's a good case, my Lord. Brigadier Gininda is trying to give an explanation, a comprehensive explanation. It's not
but
just...
my Lord, who said once that explanation? Because this is a simple question. Yes or no?
I've gone too old. How can you guys speak at the same time, all of you? Yes. I mean, when I say it's like in a tavern, then I'm told I've never been in a tavern.
Yes.
You can, in a court of law, if your colleague is on the floor, you don't interrupt him. You can raise your hand to show that you want a follow-up, which you will make. Yes. But once he's still speaking and you also speak, yeah, unless you're in the South African Parliament.
Yes. The witnesses asked that Mr. Mjiyakho made arrangements with the state on the 23rd of June for a possible plea bargain and confession, and he's asked, were you part of the discussions? Now he's trying to explain, my Lord, as to what the circumstances were. It's not just a simply, yes and no answer. And we submit, my Lord, that this witness is entitled to expand on his answer.
Yes, Mr. Mnisi.
I'm shell-shocked, my Lord. Really shell-shocked. Because I would expect that Mr. Gininda, with the experience that he has, is a court eagle. He has been to court on a number of occasions. He can bear testimony to that. He knows that I know that. The manner in which he's supposed to respond to questions, when I ask him, were you part of the discussions, yes or no? Answer is simple, yes, I was part of them. No, I wasn't part of them. If the answer is yes, then I would ask him to explain what transpired there, or how did you get to be part of that meeting? But what is happening here is really shocking, I really must say it is shocking. But nonetheless, you can explain, Mr. Gininda.
So, my Lord, let me start on this aspect. I do appreciate when Mr. Mnisi said he's doing his best to respect me, because that's what I've been giving him, and I appreciate that we respect each other. So that, and I will ask that we maintain that standard. You'll get definitely the same treatment from me in terms of respect. Now, giving an explanation, my Lord, it's not a sign of disrespect, because in no way do I cast aspersions to him as an advocate or his client. I'm responding and giving explanation based on how I understood the question to be putting. There are instances, my Lord, which Advocate Mnisi has put to me, questions where I've answered yes or no. Simple, I've answered them, the record can speak for itself. But when he asks me a question which I see, if I say no, it will give a wrong impression. Even if I say yes, I need to qualify it, my Lord. Because, for example, the question that has been put to me, yes, I was not part of the discussion when Advocate Mjiyakho was dealing now with the advocate. But there were times when I was involved, and that's the context I wanted to put to him, to say I was involved up to here. When the time came where he wanted to know who are the advocates involved, and I communicated those details to him, then there was a discussion now between him with the advocates. I was not involved, but one needs to put it into proper context, my Lord. Because if I say no, and then later evidence comes up to say, but no, you were present when this part was said, it looks like I'm misleading the court. And if I say yes, as Advocate Mnisi is saying, then you'll say, what was discussed? I do not know what he said when he spoke to the advocate. That is why I wanted to put the proper context, my Lord. Yeah. Nothing more. But if the question, my Lord, simply requires yes or no, I will not be funny or difficult with Advocate Mnisi. I will answer it as such. But if I see that, if I say yes or no, it may give a wrong impression if you don't put a context. I'll just plead with him to be patient with me, my Lord, because I'll only give an explanation when I feel it's necessary, nothing more.
I'm not even so sure whether I'd be able to answer this question. What do you know? How did Mr. Mjiyakho know about accused number 2's incarceration, for him to have gone to him on the 23rd of June 2020 to go and request me to talk to him?
No, I don't know, my lord. I wouldn't know. And I didn't inquire about it.
Thank you. Just a second, my lord. You have admitted that I'm sorry, madam, before I proceed to the question, probably there's a bomb that is coming.
What's your time? 12:40.
As it pleases the court, my lord. I realize, my lord, that it is getting a little bit hotter in the kitchen. For me, for Mr. Ramusipili, and for Mr. Ntanzi. And we don't want to look like we're running around, my lord. But the topic is getting very interesting indeed. May I therefore request, my lord, that owing to the fact that we only left with 20 minutes to go, we then take an adjournment. There is adjournment as per the arrangement. Then we do what we need to do. We do what we
continue until 1 o'clock, please. Okay.
Thank you, my lord.
Yeah, because there are critics here saying every time you want to cough, there is an adjournment. May I adjourn, please? So let's go until 1.
So you're saying you would really know how did it happen that Mr. Mjiyakho should know about accused number 2's incarceration?
No, madam.
Let's put a comma there. Let's talk about Mr. Mjiyakho. Brigadier.
Yes, my lord.
Look at me.
Must I look at you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm here.
Mr. Mjiyakho.
Yes, sir.
You know him?
No, I don't, my lord. I think in my evidence in chief during the trial within trial, that question was asked by Advocate Mnisi specifically as to whether have I ever worked with him and so forth. All I could say, my lord, is that I've never worked with him. I've never came across him when he was in the police, and I did not know him up to the day when I met him. This is thing that I've read about him, because it became the public knowledge that he was once in the police working with CI. But me myself, my lord, standing here up to today, I never worked with him. We never interacted, be it on operational matters or even a meeting. So I did not know him. That's the honest truth, my lord.
Mangikhuluma nje iqiniso-ke ngicabanga ukuthi lo mbuzo ngawubuzwa-ke ngaphambilini uyena-ke u-advocate Mshololo ngasho-ke ukuthi-ke ngezwa-ke ukuthi-ke wayeke wasebenza-ke emaphoyiseni kodwa mina-ke ngaze ngihlangane naye.
So what you're then saying is that you met him for the first time on the 23rd of June 2020 as an attorney who came to review, who came and requested to see Mr. accused number 2.
Yes, as a person, I met him on that cycle, but even as a person, individual, as I said, my lord, we never came across each other.
Thank you. Now you have admitted that it is imperative. That was at the onset. I think that was my very first question when we started. That when a person gets arrested, he will have to be tried. The imperatives why he's getting searched. Number 1, it was for security reasons. That actually came from me. Number 2, you went on and described the processes and other 2 reasons beyond what I gave, which was security reason, for a reason why it should be searched. To seize the items that are in his possession, and if those items are supposed to be used as exhibits, then they get registered in SAP 13. If those items are items that needs to be retained to him after the completion for the reason or the completion of the reason why he was arrested, then those items are noted. I think you said SAP 22 or something like that.
Yes, prisoner property, correct.
Yes, and then they will be taken back to him or to his relative. Now, accused number 2 gets arrested on the 16th by Sergeant Mohane and Sergeant Mabena. In terms of your explanation, they would have searched him and they would have confiscated everything that they needed to confiscate from him, except for the clothes that he was wearing. Should that not have been the case?
That should be the case, my lord.
Thank you. Now, on the 17th, they have an interview with him in the boardroom at Pretoria North. On the 9th, on the 18th, they are taking him to Carltonville, where you also met them. Then on the 19th of June, he appears before Mr. Rapado, and then the 23rd of June, the attorney comes and sees him. Now, from the moment he's getting arrested to the day on which this attorney presents himself, Mr. Mjiyakho, Mjiyakho, yes, presents himself to the police station and requests to see accused number 2. At that time, accused number 2 is totally secluded from any type of a communication with the outside world, not so?
No, it's not so, my lord. I disagree. So, the court will remember just a day before the 23rd of June, he was in court in Bukeng. So there was no seclusion. 23rd, you go back just a day before he made his first appearance in Bukeng court. So there was no seclusion. I'm just referring to that, and I don't want to expand so that, I say more than that. Just a day before he was in court to prove that, and he appeared before the magistrate, and he was remanded into custody on that particular matter, my lord.
Thank you. Brigadier, when I say seclusion, I'm not talking in terms of a solitary confinement, as it was applicable in respect of the other accused. I mean in terms of communication with the outside world. By virtue of the fact that he's getting arrested on the 16th, his communication capabilities with the outside world get cut off because he's now in the custody of the South African Police Services. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm saying, actually.
Okay, my lord.
Yes.
No. I did not deal with the communications specific with the accused 2.
Yes.
But what I can say, my lord, the fact that a person is incarcerated does not mean he does not have a right to communicate. Those rights are given at the police station.
Yes.
He can ask for the phone, he can ask for visit, and are even visiting hours. Even the officers who do random visits will ask them if, for example, they need to engage next of kin and so forth and so forth. So it cannot be said, my lord, that the fact that you are incarcerated, then the communication to the outside world is cut off completely. You have those rights, my lord, and they are done at the state expense at the police station.
Thank you. When I say it's cut out from the outside communication, I mean he would not communicate with the outside world as and when he wished. The communication that he would have been entitled to, it was a controlled communication, not so.
Yes, it's restricted. Perhaps that's the term. It's restricted. Yes.
Restricted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me, madam.
No, when you're talking about communication,
yes,
it's impossible or restricted. I'm just reminded by South Africa's history. Just for interest's sake, when Steve Biko was arrested,
yes, madam,
he was with Peter Jones,
yes,
at a roadblock.
yes,
you heard me.
Yes, madam.
We all knew after that. Those were involved then.
Maybe there was a snitch then.
I don't know.
There was a snitch from the police who said, hey.
We knew that Steve was arrested.
Yes.
And after 2 weeks, he was dead.
Yes, that's the reason why I'm saying, my lord. Maybe there was a snitch among the members of the police, and then he could have called the Black consciousness. Yes, maybe phone one member of the black consciousness and say, hey, one of your member there has been, but don't say it's me.
Okay.
We don't know. But the that is made. Brigadier Gininda admits that once he's in the custody of the South African police, then the person's communication with the outside world tends to be restricted. So.
Correct, I agree with that.
My Lord, I'm not so certain whether the gentleman or whether the person who was complaining about us wasting court time would still complain if we are adjourning before 8 minutes to 1. I'm not so sure.
We seated there.
I think you will be
I'm joking. Maybe he was watching YouTube.
I think you will be pushing it too far.
How long are you still going to be with this witness?
Very long.
Very long.
Very long.
Oh, very long. Very long. No, push on until 1 o'clock. So there's 8 minutes to go. Push on until 1 o'clock.
I'm requested, my Lord, by Mr. Ramusipili to implore the court that there are points that we need to polish, because once we adjourn here, there is a fear that our colleagues from the correctional services are going to say, no, your time is up, it's our time now, and they are going to take him away, my Lord. So then that is going to affect us in polishing the point that Mr. Ramusipili wants us to polish.
So that's all.
That's it.
Yeah, okay.
He's trying.
Hello?
He's been trying for things. So
Yeah, I can see that. No, fine. Let's adjourn because I'm told that there are points that which want to be polished.
Yes, please record. Thank you.
So, I'm sorry about that.